Thank you very much, Minister, for being here. Thank you, Cathaoirleach, for introducing this item for me here. Minister, I want to highlight the lack of SNA support for children with autism and other special needs in my constituency of Roscommon, Galway. I, like so many of my colleagues, are dealing with cases every week where parents of special needs children are struggling and fighting for services for their children in a bid to meet educational and psychological needs. Like any mother or father, those parents only want the best for their children, but they are constantly coming up against obstacles. I want to tell you the story of one 10-year-old boy in my constituency. This 10-year-old boy is non-verbal and presents with autism and associated intellectual disability. He previously had access to resource teaching hours and SNA support on a full-time basis for the past number of years in a primary school setting. However, from September 2018, the SNA support has been removed, which is having, I can tell you, a detrimental effect on his schooling and development. This child needs constant supervision. He has issues with self-care and safety, and he is at risk of running out of the classroom or schoolyard if not properly supervised. This little boy is also non-verbal and was making very good progress under his SNA. The family has provided all the assessment reports and psychology report which outlines his case in detail. I have submitted a parliamentary question in relation to this matter, and I would be grateful if you could assist this young boy and reinstate his SNA as soon as possible, as it is vital for his future educational and psychological needs. I have another boy in a national school, a neighbour, in the same situation, who needs full care of an SNA, and that has been taken away. An appeal for that boy has gone in, and I'm sincerely hoping that that appeal will be successful. In a PQ reply from me back in June of this year, it was indicated that 800 additional SNAs were to be allocated for the beginning of the school year, with 140 expected to be allocated by the end of 2018. I would be happy if you could provide an update on those figures, even if you don't have them today. Have the additional 800 been allocated, and if so, how many have been allocated to the Roscommon and Galway area? And I hope, Minister, and I'm not going to delay my introduction to this any longer, that we can look after these very vulnerable children. I happen to have a nephew and a niece within my family circle who suffer from autism as well. Looked after quite well by the authorities, I have to say. But when I watch their parents, it's such a challenge. It's such a struggle. I have fantastic time for parents of those kids who put in such an effort. And again, it falls to us to make every representation on their behalf so that they have the supports. Thank you, Minister.
Deputy and Tara.
Thanks very much, Cathaoirleach. I want to thank Deputy Murphy for raising this important issue this evening and to recognise his sincerity in doing so. The Minister for Education and Skills would also like to thank the Deputy for raising this matter and gives his apologies for not being here personally. The Minister wishes to assure the House that the education of children with special educational needs remains a key priority for this Government. The Government now invests €524 million in special needs assistance scheme annually as part of a total €1.75 billion investment in special education needs overall. There will be a total of 15,000 SNAs working in our schools, providing support for approximately 36,000 pupils by the end of this year. This is a 42% increase on 2011, when the number of SNAs stood at 10,575. The Minister welcomes the fact that we have been able to continue to meet the needs of children with special educational needs attending our schools and to increase provision to address emerging needs in this area. The SNA scheme in particular has been a major factor in both ensuring the successful integration of children with special educational needs into mainstream education and the provision of support to pupils enrolled in special schools and special classes. The Minister wants to take this opportunity to assure the House that schools which have enrolled children who qualify for support from an SNA will continue to be allocated SNA support in a manner appropriate to their needs. The House will be aware that the National Council of Special Education, which is an independent agency, is responsible through its network of local special education needs organisers for allocating a quantum of special needs assistance support for each school annually, taking into account the assessed care needs of children qualifying for SNA support enrolled in the school. It is important that this House is aware that each school's allocation of SNA support can change from year to year and may be increased or decreased as students who qualify for SNA support enrol or leave a school. New students with care needs may or may not enrol to replace students who have left. For example, our SNA allocations may be decreased where a child's care needs have diminished over time. The NCSE policy advice on supporting students with autism spectrum disorder found that students are generally well supported in schools with appropriate curriculum, extensive teacher and SNA supports, improving a range of educational placements supported by improved accommodation and equipment, improved teacher knowledge and understanding, and a generally good standard of provision at primary and post-primary levels. The NCSE policy advice noted that ASD is a spectrum condition, so some students with ASD require little support in school and are relatively independent in their learning, while others require significant levels of support. The Department's policies ensure that every child who is assessed as needing SNA support will receive access to such support. NCSE have an appeals process, as the Deputy has alluded to, which may be invoked by a parent or a school where it is considered that a child was not granted access to SNA support on the grounds that Department policy was not met. Schools may appeal a decision where the school considers that the NCSE, in applying Department policy, has not allocated the appropriate level of SNA support to the school to meet the care needs of the children concerned. Where a child has received its allocation of SNA support for the school year, but wishes to new enrolments or assessments to be considered, which were not taken into account when the initial allocation was made, they may continue to make applications to the NCSE. The Minister for Education and Skills is pleased to advise that schools in Roscommon and Galway have had an increased SNA allocation over the last number of years. Roscommon has been allocated 186 SNA posts for the start of this school year, an increase from 171 posts allocated for the 2017-2018 school year. The SNA allocation for Galway has also increased from just over 778 posts for the last school year to over 819 posts for this school year. This is an increase of 9% and 5% respectively for Galway and Roscommon, for Roscommon and Galway this year. And to answer the other question the Deputy asked, look, as part of the budget 2018, funding is being allocated for the recruitment of over 1,000 new SNAs in 2018. There were 70 allocations made between January and June. 800 additional SNA posts were made available for allocation to schools in September 2018 to meet the demands for the new school year, with an additional allocation of 140 posts expected between September and December 2018 to bring the total to 1,000. Thank you.
Deputy Murphy.
I want to thank you for a very detailed response here today. And in fairness, I do want to acknowledge extra NSAs have been appointed. And I suppose we'd all agree on one thing. In general, they do a fantastic job. They build up a great relationship with those children and their parents, and they give them a lot of care, love and attention, and in most circumstances it works out well. What concerns me a bit, Minister, at this stage is that since I became a TD, at this stage now I have more concerns than I've had at any stage from parents, and I think I'm dealing with 5 cases at the moment. I think 2 may be gone to appeal, and others are going to be a little bit more difficult. Where the child who has the full SNA in a primary school and has progressed extremely well under that SNA, then goes into a secondary school and the goalposts change. And in one case, that means the child comes out crying out of school. The child is unsettled. The child isn't sleeping at night. And you know, I suppose not everybody fits into the same category, and situations can be different. But definitely in 2 of those cases I'm speaking about, where children came out of the primary school and had the one-to-one attention and gone into the secondary school where they haven't had the one-to-one attention, they have gone back, and they were getting on so well. They had progressed so well. And I hope that maybe in the appeals where this is pointed out, that we may be able to rectify those situations. Because, as I said earlier, the struggle for parents of any sick children or any people with a disability or whatever, and autism is very, very trying. We all know that. And we need to give every support we do. But I want to acknowledge, before I finish, the role of principals in the schools, the role of teachers in the schools, and, as I said before, the role of SNAs. Thank you, Minister.
I hear what the Deputy is saying, and I'll certainly pass on his concerns to the Minister on this. But special needs assistance are provided to assist recognised schools to cater for pupils with disabilities who have educational and significant care needs in an educational context, and where the nature of these care needs have been outlined in medical and professional reports as being so significant that the pupil will require additional adult assistance in order to be able to attend school and to participate in education. In considering applications for SNA supports for individual pupils, the special needs educational needs organisers take account of the pupils' needs and consider the resources available to the school to identify whether additionality is needed or whether the school might reasonably be expected to meet the needs of the pupils from its current level of resources. The Minister wishes to emphasise that SNAs are not allocated to individual children but to schools as a school-based resource. This Government is committed to ensuring that children with special educational needs are supported and given every opportunity to fulfil their full potential. The Department's policy is to ensure that every child who is assessed as needing SNA support will receive access to such support. Special needs assistants play a key role in supporting children who have additional care needs to attend school and to participate in education. More children with special education needs are participating than ever before, and we are investing more than ever before to support this. And again, as I said earlier on, the NCSE appeals process may be invoked by a parent or a school where it is considered that the child was not granted access to SNA support on the grounds that departmental policy was not met in accordance with Circular 0030/2014. And schools can also appeal a decision where the school considers that the NCSE, in applying departmental policy, has not allocated the appropriate level of SNA support to the school to meet the special education or other care needs of the children concerned. I hope that's of assistance to the Deputy. Now, thank him again, Gaelic, for raising the matter. Thank you.
Minister.